A man who brutally murdered an 85-year-old woman for her retirement savings has dramatically managed to halt his execution on death row, with 20 minutes to spare. Ruben Gutierrez has had his execution postponed following his request for DNA testing. The state of Texas had scheduled the execution of Gutierrez, who was found guilty of the brutal murder of Escolastica Harrison in 1998 with the intention of stealing her savings, for Tuesday evening. However, just 20 minutes before he was due to receive a lethal injection at a death chamber in Huntsville, Texas, the Supreme Court granted a stay of execution. Gutierrez has consistently claimed that DNA testing would demonstrate his innocence in the fatal stabbing of the elderly woman during a home robbery in 1998. The 47-year-old inmate was sentenced to death for the stabbing of Escolastica at her home in Brownsville. Gutierrez has been seeking DNA testing for a long time, claiming it would prove he played no part in her death. Gutierrez was held responsible for the murder of Escolastica, which took place at her home in Brownsville, deep in southern Texas. Prosecutors argued that the retired teacher's murder was premeditated as part of a plan to steal more than $600,000 she kept in her home due to a distrust of banks. The High Court's brief order stated that its stay of execution would remain in effect until the justices decide whether they should review his appeal request. If the court denies the request, the execution reprieve would automatically be lifted. Gutierrez has consistently denied killing Escolastica, and his attorneys have claimed that there is no forensic or physical evidence connecting him to the crime. In the case, 2 other people were also charged. His defense team has filed an appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court to stay the execution, claiming that Texas has infringed upon his right to post-conviction DNA testing that could demonstrate his ineligibility for the death penalty under state law. They argue that a number of objects found at the scene of the crime, including as Escolastica's nail clippings, a strand of hair that was wrapped around one of her fingers, and many blood samples taken inside her house, have never been examined. They said, Gutierrez confronts not just the refusal of the DNA testing he has been seeking for more than 10 years, but also the possibility of being executed for a crime he did not commit. In their appeal to the Supreme Court, Gutierrez's counsel stated that no one has any interest in a wrongful execution. The prosecution has labeled the request for DNA testing as a tactic to delay Gutierrez's conviction, which is based on several pieces of evidence, including a confession where he admitted to planning the robbery and being present at her home when she was killed. Under Texas's law of parties, which holds individuals responsible for the actions of others if they assist or encourage the crime, Gutierrez was found guilty.